Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSports. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and joining me, as always, Mr. Andy Mahler, and as always on Fridays, Mr. Matthew Rooney. I like it, everybody. We're kind of like with a gray thing. We don't really ever communicate on this, but it's nice that we all look alike.
Nice.
I don't know. We don't have much time for banter, honestly. We've got like 10 things.
We always have time for banter on this
There's
show.
no time for banter because holiday weekend starts in 28 minutes, guys.
Again.
My in-laws are showing up earlier than I thought. The house is a mess. My wife is stressed beyond belief about that. I promised her I'd go home a little early and do some cleaning before I finish up everything else I need to do today. So I have a hard out. But I don't give a shit. It'll get there. I told the kids to clean. I'm sure that'll go fine.
Yeah, they'll help a little bit.
Put an 11-year-old in charge of cleaning the house. I'm sure it'll be spotless. We've all seen Home Alone, guys. But yeah, there is like 6 different sports. Let's start in the NFL. I know with Drew traveling and also being sick and me being sick, a little light on deep dives over the last month, but looks like he's going to planes, trains, and automobile his way back to California here. We should be a go-go for Sunday. Everything should be fine. We should be back on a pretty normal schedule as we slide into Week 18 with some exciting playoff scenarios on the board. And I did make more bets than this, but I just wanted to go with a theme. I bet a bunch of unders this week. A lot of it is just due to some ineptness from some of these teams. I mean, starting off with the Browns, these are lower totals too, and we've seen this year. There's been a lot of low totals. There's only one total in the 50s this week. I mean, last year we'd see 3-4 a week. Sometimes we'd see some 55s popping, but right now it's only because the Lions and Bears defenses are so bad that we have a 50 on the board. But Browns Commanders we are going to see Carson Wentz. We have not seen Antonio Gibson practicing, which is a bit of a problem for Washington, who needs to win their final 2 games to get into the playoffs. Luckily, the Browns offense stinks out loud under Watson so far. We haven't seen a real good connection between him and Cooper. We haven't seen the running game do what it's done for the last couple of years. So I think this is another slog. Both teams in the teens. Not sure who wins. I'll be cheering for Washington, even though it's Carson Wentz, and I never want to cheer for that guy because he is a straight-up putz. The Jets have a really good defense. Everyone knows this now. In fact, it's a top 5 defense on a lot of people's rankings. They head to Seattle, where the Seattle offense has fallen off a goddamn cliff. Geno, I don't know, like Geno had a painting up in his attic of him as a younger man, as a better quarterback, and then somebody destroyed it. And he is back to normal. It was a really, really deep reference that I'm not going to go with ever again. But Geno just is Geno's broken now. Like it's not the same. He's still decent, but we're not seeing the high level Seattle offense. And we have Lockett very dinged up again. It could be an issue there. Kenneth Walker back, but still dinged up. So this is going to be another ugly under. I think the Jets defense steps up mightily. And I know Mike White's back, but it's still not a great offense. This is the highest total of the 3, and I still love this under. Another one where, like 20-10 Jets kind of checks out in that one. And then, of course, the Patriots, who have been scoring some points. But if you just look at the scoreboard and say, hey, the Patriots didn't do too bad last week, did they? Some of it is kind of sneaky because what was the score in the last week's Patriots game? Let me pull this up. I feel like I bet on this one. Was it the Thursday game?
Yes.
Man, what? No, that was Jacksonville. So 22-18. They only put up 18. All of it in the second half. Only 2 of those scores were from the offense. They continue to get scores from their defense and special teams. And again, we don't give a shit, Andy, but the Patriots are my fantasy defense. So scoring a touchdown the past 2 weeks during the playoffs has been just hunky-dory for me, but it's not sustainable. It's not something you're going to see continuing every single week. The offense stinks out loud. Everybody stinks out loud this year, and I don't expect a big scoring output from them in this one either against a decent at time Miami Dolphins, who will be starting Teddy Bridgewater Teddy covers was great in years past. The 2 games we saw him so far this year, not so much. Not looking for Teddy to be able to take advantage of those high-end dynamic weapons they have. So this is going to be a gross game too, and it's a divisional game. Patriots Dolphins games just go under in general. So under full weekend for me. So those are 3 games I won't watch.
I was gonna say, like, you can't watch those games now.
Luckily there's no buys anymore. Obviously it's this late in the season, so there's plenty of football to watch. I'll watch the other ones.
That's true.
And look at
You
him
got a whole
trying
lot
to
of
figure out what
games.
the marquee game is of the day. It's a shame. I guess the Chiefs blowing
Over,
up the
I bet,
Broncos.
was
That'll be a
last
lot of fun.
night. I had the over 40. Some people probably got it 39.5. I didn't buy that, so it did land on 40 last night, but we all lumped on that second half over a little bit. That was nice to see it come home, and game was actually halfway decent last night. Yeah, at times, better than I thought. So Dobbs didn't look horrible against a very beat up defense, but we'll see how that goes. They have not decided if it's Dobbs or Willis in Week 18 in the win and in AFC South Color Rush game of the week, of the year, of the month. And
I hope they do color
before
rush.
all that. Yeah,
They should.
absolutely. It's an homage to those 2 teams and what they've done over the years. So, but before all that happens, we'll have some bowl games, and Matt is all over a couple of these.
Yeah, we got a big slate today. I think there's 4. I think there's 5 or so. And with the Orange Bowl tonight, I'm not touching that one though. There's too many opt-outs and such. First, I'm going to start at the bottom there because that's the 11 o'clock game. I just put it in last. 11 o'clock, Maryland and NC State. A lot of opt-outs on both sides, a lot of injuries on both sides. NC State's going to want to run the ball. I'm not terribly sure Maryland's going to be able to throw the ball with their receiver, with most of their receivers out getting ready for the NFL. That one seems like they're going to probably try and run too. I'm not sure they're going to be able to because NC State's run defense is very good. To me, the under 45.5, I think you're going to see 2 teams just really try and run the ball and that clock move quite a bit. Next, laying 7.5 with UCLA against Pitt. UCLA has a lot of guys that surprisingly look like they're probably going to play and not opt out. In their quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the receiver, Jake Bobo. I always forget his first name. His last name's Bobo. Zach Charbonnet, the running back, looks like he might play too, whereas Pitt has just about everybody offensively opting out. The quarterback's out, the running back's out, losing a lot of people there. So that just seems like a game with zero motivation for Pitt, and UCLA is going to have some guys. So I think UCLA wins that one pretty easily. And then Notre Dame, South Carolina. I like the over 50.5 this one. I think South Carolina's offense is pretty good. I think Spencer Rattler is going to want to put on a show to close out the season here. And that South Carolina offense has been pretty good down the stretch. They put up 30 plus against Clemson. They put up 60, whatever it was, against Tennessee. Like, that offense can score. Notre Dame has some injuries and opt-outs on defense. And I think offensively, Notre Dame's going to be more aggressive. Tyler Buckner's playing and will probably be his only start. They probably will not be the starter next year if they get their key transfers in. But I think he's going to want to be aggressive. I think Notre Dame's going to throw the ball around a little bit more, and they're going to be able to run the football because South Carolina's run defense isn't very good. So I think you're going to have 2 pretty aggressive offenses in this one that are going to be able to put up some points against some banged up and opted out defenses.
Yeah. And as Lake Show's mentioning, UCLA is catching some steam.
Wow.
Every one of these games, you see this weird steam. Some of it's informational, some of it, I guess, is late opt-outs or whatnot. But yeah, and Malik Willis is bad.
He's not good. He's not good.
I don't know. It feels like one of those prereqs for being a quarterback is being able to throw the ball.
It helps.
It's not very good at that part of it. So
it helps when you can do that. Not a football expert, but
such is life. So, the NBA. You know what? I did get tickets tomorrow. I'm going to Timberwolves, Pistons.
Let's go Wolves.
2 teams that stink. Going tomorrow night. Tickets were so cheap. Like,
has Minnesota been that bad this year? I know they've been disappointing, but have they been like terrible?
No, they're not horrible, but they've been, they were very much hyped up after the Gobert signing, and they're actually playing tonight. Noops has a hot take on my Wood Dogs tonight.
Yep, just a couple plays tonight. Yeah, Matt, you look at it, they're 3 games below 500. It's hard to believe that they might not even make the play-in game here. I do think that they'll sort of snap into a little bit of form, but it's just been weird trying to integrate Gobert. Karl Anthony Towns has missed a bunch of times, so we'll see. But Friday night, NBA, pretty decent sized slate, 9 games, some sort of clunky matchups. Again, a lot of injury nonsense, a lot of things to kind of pick apart. One of the other looks that I thought about maybe playing Trailblazers -2 against the Warriors. It's a good matchup for Portland. But like my Philadelphia 76ers tonight, have them as almost 3-point favorites here against the New Orleans Pelicans in New Orleans. The Pelicans will be without Brandon Ingram. Really been a problem for them defensively. I'm really struggling to see what people are going to do tonight in terms of trying to slow down James Harden and a Sixers offense that has been pretty solid here. And Embiid has done really well against Zion the handful of times they've played. He seems to be one of the few people that could actually slow down Zion at the rim. And on the other end of the floor, Valanciunas, some of the bigs on New Orleans really struggle to stop Embiid. So I think the Sixers continue to play great basketball here. Again, have them almost 3.5-point favorites. So just grab the money line at -115. If you have -1 at less than standard juice, that's fine too. And then Timberwolves Bucks over 227. This is a bet I actually made it a worse number last night. Bet over 228.5 before I went to bed. Seeing some 229s and dropped down to 227 this morning. I'm not really sure why, but both teams have really picked up their pace the last week or so. The offense of the Timberwolves seems to have kind of found a little bit of a rhythm here now with Gobert having played for a little while and Towns not being on the floor. And we know how good Towns is, but I think it's just kind of simplified things for them. And they're scoring more points night in, night out. Same thing with the Bucks. Looks like Jrue Holiday might not play tonight, but even without him, they continue to push the pace as a team with some depth. And you get a little more 3-point shooting on the floor, honestly. So like this over tonight, had this in the low 230s. So give me the Sixers and then the Timberwolves Bucks over.
Wait, is that game in Milwaukee?
Milwaukee.
Oh, man. I mean, that's not the worst. Fuck, you could drive that in like 4 hours.
Same time zone.
Yeah, it's not the worst.
Game.
Well, I'm just saying when they get back tomorrow because they have a game in Minneapolis. I don't want to see tired light. I'm going to be pissed.
They'll be back in Minneapolis tonight.
I'm going to be pissed if I bought tickets to a goddamn game and they rest him. They're like, oh, Edwards is tired and it's New Year's Eve. Like, he's not playing.
I think you'll be fine.
I honestly, my daughter would be pissed. That's her favorite player. Like, she's definitely going to be wearing his jersey tomorrow. So, yeah, not good. They can't be resting players. They have ground to make up. So they wouldn't do that to me. So college ball. The fun part about college ball yesterday was I forgot about it. Not that I didn't bet it or I didn't put it in, the BetSperts app or talk about it here. I forgot completely about it happening as I was watching the first half of Silence of the Lambs and then right into the football game. And then it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock my time. I'm like, oh, yeah, I wonder how those games went. And just a sweat-free 2 out of 3. I believe one of my underdogs won outright as like a 7-point dog. One of them just covered a small number, and the other one got the ever-living shit kicked out of him, which is kind of it's like the baseball with the true outcomes. That's what happens. Either, oh my God, they won the game even though they're 8-point dogs. You're like, oh, they just stayed in, or it's never close. It's like, oh, they lost by 30. So such is life. Yeah, and somebody's saying the Coastal Carolina game took years off my life. You're lucky. Yeah, I don't go back sometimes and even look at those box scores. I don't want to know how it ended up a 1-point game at the end. Those are usually manic endings like that. So, and it looks like some people are saying they should have even won. So good for them. Let's go Coastal. But tonight I have a couple looks. I believe both in the not the Patriot League. I was looking at the Patriot League early. This is the Atlantic Sun, the Stetson Mad Hatters of the Atlantic Sun taking on the Lipscomb Lipscomb Lovers. I'm not sure what their mascot is anymore. Lipscomb, decent shooting team, can't get to the line. Kind of a horrid defense, can't defend the 3, gives up just doesn't force turnovers. Like kind of a middle of the pack team. Stetson is, I honestly, I have these teams a lot closer than 7. I have them very similar in a lot of regards. Outside of Stetson's defense is bleeping horrible. And it is an away game. It should be a little tougher, but I can't get this to 7. So I like that quite a bit at that price point. That's very, very widely available still at this point. And if I can find my way back, the Bison. Dan is saying. Dan's always good. The Bison.
Bison.
Which is one of my favorite animals that I've seen out in the wild. Just huge. He's huge. And we did see him once in the winter when they have all the frost and snow and they're breathing and they're just breathing big clouds. And it makes you feel like you're like straight up in those Yellowstone prequel shows for real. But the Lehigh, and again, I don't know what the
Let's
used
see.
to know all these. Lehigh lovers?
I should know
am I
what
just-
Lehigh's
am I-
mascot is.
really
It's
just-
a bird of some sort.
You just keep going back to the lovers.
I know, but it's alliteration. This isn't the Patriot League. Lehigh is taking on
Some
the
sort of
Army,
bird.
the Army Black Knights, which I do know. They're getting 6 here. Lehigh is an overall bad team. Their offense, not good. Actually, their
Mountain
defense
Hawks, I like that.
defense is the kind of the highlight of this team. The real highlight of this team is they're a shitty team who shoots a decent amount of threes and shoots them well. So if they play a good team, that's not enough to get you in a game. They played Cornell the other day. Cornell's a good team. They lost by 30. You know, they played Wisconsin. They lost by 20, whatever. If you're going to play a good team, you're going to struggle. But they have hung with some of these other teams. In fact, they have wins over Marist. I thought Marist is a good team. Wins over St. Francis, PA, not New York. And then some wins over some real shit teams. But Army, I don't have Army that much of a better team. This is another one, too, where it's like, are these teams that dissimilar? Army sucks on the offensive rebounding. Army can't force a turnover. Army doesn't shoot the three ball that well. And just the defense kind of stinks out loud here, too. So this is, and yeah, that Wisconsin game was tied with 6 minutes ago. I remember seeing someone point that out. Badgers are kind of a weird team this year. Lehigh, though, +6. I like these both. They're both available still right now. I put them in on BetSperts early this morning. That's it for the night. Just those two. Not the smallest of cards, but there wasn't a ton of value that I could find.
No, that makes sense. And I saw in the chat, Alyssa was asking for Bulls Pistons first field goal scorer. Go with Ayo and Isaiah Stewart.
Oh,
It's a tough one because apparently neither the Pistons nor the Bulls win a lot of tips. So it really could be anybody tonight. But it looks like the Bulls give up a lot of first field goals to big guys and then point guards when you're going up against the Pistons. So Ayo's like 12-1 and Stewart's like 9-1. Go ahead and play some big numbers.
I like that. I think I'm gonna throw
My
some
wife,
eye out.
my wife just texted me. She's doing some year-end finance stuff, planning the budget for next year.
Sure.
She made the mistake of pulling up her 401k and looking at that number. It's like year-over-year market value change. She's not impressed with that.
Don't look at them. Don't look at those this year, people.
Yeah,
Just-
she's like that's what I made this year.
Just wait till next year.
It's not good, guys. I'm like, it's cyclical. You're 30 something. You're not retiring this year.
You're not touching
It'll
that
be-
for a while. Get
It'll
it
be
back.
fine. Let it go. Oh,
Yeah, you can't touch that for years.
You set it and
Yeah.
forget it.
Set it, forget it. That's what we're doing in the National Hockey League, where you got a couple of looks.
We have
That was-
we got afternoon hockey. Well, afternoon hockey for me and Andy. I guess would be evening hockey for Noops. It's a 5 p.m. Eastern puck drop, 4
Dinner
o'clock.
hockey.
It's not like he lives in England, man.
Well, no,
it's like an hour
for me. Well, no, for me, 5 o'clock is when is
That's
the
fair.
official
That's
beginning
fair.
of the evening. So that's when it stops being the afternoon.
Cocktail
4
time.
o'clock still the afternoon. So that's what I say.
It's martini
Zach-
time.
Andy, your can is freaking me out with the green screen behind you.
I was tired this morning.
What is that? What was that? Monster?
Red Bull.
Red
Red
Bull?
Bull.
Oh.
All right.
Ride the bull.
We don't have time for banter, but my son got a 14,000 piece Lego set.
Oh yeah, we talked about
And
this. How's that
so I've
going?
Why?
he loves them, but he likes it when I help him find the pieces. So every morning before work, we do a bag or two because there's like 10, 15 bags of Lego. You open one bag at a time and do that part. The instruction book is like Anna Karenina. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I got up a little earlier. We did a little extra this morning to work on it. And oh my God. Anyway, it's not a hockey set, but you are a hockey better than Matt. And tell me what puck line we're laying today, because Lord knows you're laying a puck line at plus money.
Of course,
That's what
we're
you
laying
do.
a puck line at plus money. That's what we do. It's the same thing with baseball with run lines. We're going to lay the Predators -1.5 in Anaheim. Anaheim is, we talked about it with the Blackhawks the other night, how they're kind of become usually just, you're good to fade them on the puck line if it's a plus money. That's been working. Ducks are getting to that point too. They're a very bad hockey team. They're allowing over 4 goals a game, and Nashville doesn't score a ton, but they do play pretty good defense. And this is a matchup for them defensively that you can probably count on them getting right, putting in a few more pucks in the net offensively, because defensively and in the net, the Ducks are terrible. Yes, Andy.
I thought the Predators were in Chicago. Wasn't that in the news earlier?
I'm looking at ESPN Nashville.
No, that's a joke about the crimes.
This is a bad
committed by
joke of
the-
some sort.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a joke about the crimes committed by your hockey team. Anyway, Kraken's Oilers.
Okay, that was 10 years ago, and everybody's
Yeah,
gone, but that's fine. Jeez, Andy. Yeah, we're going to take Predators. We're going to lay them on the puck line there. And then Kraken Oilers over 6.5. You got two teams that score a lot of goals, and you got two teams that let up a lot of goals. Both teams are averaging right around 3.5. They're both letting in around 3.3. I think Kraken's it's 4 of their last 5 have gone 7 or higher, with a couple hitting like 8. Oilers have done something similar. I think it's 4 out of the last 5 of the last 6 or something like that. So give me these two teams. Both teams struggle in net. Both teams struggle at times defensively, and they play at a faster pace. I think the last time I took a Kraken over that I gave out on the show was the 9-8 win over the Kings. That one hit pretty easily. So let's hope we get something like that here tonight. Give me the Kraken and the Oilers over 6.5 tonight in Seattle.
All right, the last bet of the year, Noops.
A lot of pressure.
No, and actually it's multiple, but
It's fitting that it's tennis too.
I didn't
Yeah,
realize
it-
that. That's.
this.
I wish you hadn't
this
said anything.
is-
Now I'm nervous.
Yeah, I know. We might have to. Maybe I'll have to throw in a soccer one at the end, just to like take the juju, take the hex off of you for this one. But low key, the United Cup has been kind of good. There's been some good matches. Like, I poo-pooed the United Cup, but it seems like the teams and the countries are taking it pretty seriously and like want to win for their nation, despite it being. I mean, it would be like playing the World Cup right before the season started, and like, hey, all you soccer players, you're like, hey, you got to worry about your club teams, but right now you really got to focus in on the biggest tournament of the year for your countries. I don't know that people don't seem to be letting us down here. It's been good.
It has been really fun. Again, I think adding more ranking points to it, they up the prizes a little bit. And tennis has always had the weird thing of really important events early. Again, one of the 4 most important tournaments of the year is in week 3 of the season. So they're kind of used to it at this point. But yeah, it's refreshing to watch everybody. The matches have been a lot of fun. Now, Podoroska unfortunately didn't get it done for us overnight, but at least I was right. She was going to win or get smoked. She
Lost 6-2, 6-0. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not pretty. But we got some more action tonight. We'll go back to some first set overs, and then we have an actual tennis tournament. Qualifying starts for a couple tournaments this weekend. Play starting even tonight. That's a fun part about the Aussie season. There's evening tennis here in the States. United Cup, 2 first set overs. Jewel Niemeyer and Marie Buzkova. Buzkova unable to win for us as a dog earlier in the week, unfortunately, but was serving well, played some solid tennis, was able to get that first set to 6-4, a good chance for 7-5 there. Niemeyer generally plays some pretty long sets. This was one. These have been a little tougher to find. You can find the first set overs. I don't know if anybody's going to let me stack these up today, but we'll try to do both of those if you have the option. Again, just looks like we'll have 2 kind of solid holds here. The court's been playing really fast in Australia, as they generally do. And then in a similar vein, Laura Siegman and Petra Kvitova. Kvitova tiebreaker in her first set just yesterday. Siegman has been playing tennis, which is generally good for her. Starting to build herself back in form. These 2 women have played a handful of times. They're generally long matches, but have seen kind of that same dynamic where the second set can be pretty short. So I'm going to get over 9.5 here at plus money. I had this closer to -110. And then in Adelaide, qualifying starts in Adelaide tonight. Anastasia Potapova goes up against Taylor Townsend. Townsend is one of the more curious tennis players. Let's say that she doesn't have the general body that you would expect of a tennis player, but plays a really creative style, attacks the net, is really good during grass seasons, a fantastic doubles player, but in her singles career has really struggled. Goes up against Potapova, one of the better young players, someone that continues to kind of push up the rankings, and at some point may be someone that wins tournaments like this. Have her as a much bigger favorite in this match, closer to -160, honestly. So anything -140 or better looks pretty good. She has the power. She doesn't mind the net play. There's not really a lot of stuff that Townsend's going to throw at her that's going to bother Potapova here tonight. So I'll take Potapova -135 and 2 first set overs. I guess is the last official brown bag bets of the year.
It's crazy. Our last bet of the year.
We all should have worn brown bags today.
Yeah, it's going to be Potapova.
Maybe I'll wear one on Monday, depending on how that goes.
Yeah. I prefer plastic at the grocery store. I recycle.
I like paper
don't
with
give a-
plastic on the outside.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about the environment, I guess. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm bad about that. I don't know. I can't do the thing. I would never remember my bags. I didn't even bring my wallet to town the other day. I stopped at the store. I'm like, oh, it's on my nightstand. Guess I'm not buying anything. Jeez, I don't have Apple Pay because I don't have an Apple phone. Gets me out of work though sometimes. Matt, you have to test some things on your Apple phone this week.
That's
I
true.
don't. Android till I die, I guess. Mostly just because I keep going to the store when mine breaks.
No, you got an
Andy for it.
iPad. You got an iPad.
I do have an iPad, but it's my kids. But I just bring my phone to the store and say, give me the newest version of this broken phone because I know how the operating system works and I don't want to learn anything new. So for the longest time, they've just continued to do that. Honestly, since smartphones have come into my life. So, hey, you guys, I wish you all a happy new year. I hope your 2023 brings you much joy. You know, the thing is, your betting record resets. Everybody's 0-0-0 in about 30.
days.
What do we? Yeah, 37 hours Central Time.
It
36.
is really close.
36 hours till your betting record resets. You are no longer a loser, guys. If you had a losing record, but if you were a winner, also you were starting back at square one. So enjoy it. Hit the thumbs up on the way out if you like New Year's, and have a good one. Don't drink and drive. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Oh my God, that's like a week ago. I was talking about $100,000 cocaine.
Dan,
party in
save him.
Vegas. Save us. Kill
Save
it,
him, Dan.
Dan. This drumming is actually the sound of my heart at the $100,000 cocaine party.